Fed up of floor robes, driven to distraction and drowning with doom boxes? Tired of living in chaos? Welcome to Decluttering Untangled, how to declutter when you're overwhelmed, ADHD or autistic. I'm going to help you uncover the secrets to decluttering, no matter what hurdles you face. You'll discover how to declutter, de-stress and transform your world. I'm Heather Tingle, reformed hoarder, neurodivergent declutter queen, and your guide through the maze of mess. Let's get untangled. Hello Untanglers, and welcome back to another episode of Decluttering Untangled with me, your host Heather Tingle. Now today's episode is a little follow-on from episode 46, and that's where we talked about being eco-friendly and that tricky balance of not wanting to create waste but doing what is right for you. And I know that for many of you, including me, the guilt around landfill can stop us from letting things go. We want to reuse, rescue, repurpose, recycle, anything but throw it away. But sometimes the kindest thing we can do for ourselves is actually to let it go. And sometimes that means letting things go in the simplest and easiest way possible. Now, this episode has happened because an untangler reached out to me and asked to do a little reminder. And I've got a different take on it today about this, because sometimes getting things out of our homes does mean that we need to put it into landfill. So today I want to talk about a little mindset shift that can make that easier for you. And I call it the one last use approach. Now I want you to think of it like giving your items one final last useful sacrifice. They're sacrificing something before saying goodbye. And it can be really helpful for things to be so dirty and so grim that they then have to go in the bin, but you can feel like you've done something productive in the meantime. So when you're decluttering, you're often faced with piles of discards. And if you tried to find a permanent second life for every single thing, you'd never actually make progress. Now, that's how we end up with more bags of stuff to deal with later, instead of actually freeing up space. Or we just move things around with good intentions. But instead of keeping things for reuse, think about giving items one last purposeful job before they go. So, for example, if you've got a load of odd socks or old socks, brilliant for deep cleaning something. So deep clean of a skirting board or behind a radiator, or really grimy jobs, like round the base of your kitchen sink or your bathroom sink, or where all the fluff accumulates somewhere, something really grimy. And then they can go in the bin, rather than putting odd socks in a bin or taking them to a textile dump, which sometimes that just might not be possible. Like if you've got like 3 odd socks and nothing else, and you want to wait for more of them before you can take it to a textile dump, that's not going to happen. So if you decided you can let them go, then what you need to do is give them one really grimy job to do before they can go. So, for example, things like old t-shirts or tea towels, they are the perfect messy rags for painting or polishing or wiping down something that's really dirty before you give it a proper clean. Things like takeaway tubs, this is something I use. So I get loads of old takeaway tubs coming in all the time. When I need to let some go, they can't go in my recycling bin because the plastic is too hard. So I will use them, for example, putting old frying oil in before it goes in the bin, or for catching drips under houseplants one last time, and then they can go in the bin. Things like egg cartons, use them for kindling. I use them in the fireplace all the time, or fire pit, and then they're gone. And that can be a really positive thing. Things like worn out sponges. So if you're still using those plastic sponges or the like Brillo pads, the green and yellow ones, and it gets to the end and you know that you can't really use it anymore because it's got, bits of food still on it and it's not very clean and you don't want to use it, then consider using it for something like a greasy, doing a quick wipe of the greasy oven. Not saying do a deep clean with it because that's going to take too much time, but find a really grim job that you can just do a little scrub and feel like it's done something before you can put it in the bin. Things like chipped mugs, use them for seedlings or paint water and then let them go. Old toothbrushes are amazing for scrubbing grout or taps before binning. So while you're in the shower one day, if you've got an old toothbrush and you've now got a new one, or you realise that you've got 15 of them, you need to let some go, use the old splayed ones and give your grout a bit of a clean while you're in the shower one day. So the point here isn't to create a whole new stash of maybe useful one day I'm going to use these things. It's deciding to let them go and then giving them one last job to do and then getting them out of the house quickly by putting them in the bin. It's about noticing when something's already at the end of its life, squeezing one last useful thing out of it, and then you can let it go without guilt. It's the difference between endless reuse, which often just becomes clutter in itself. And I use the word sacrifice because I want you to think of it as this item is sacrificing itself before it goes forever. It's doing one last really good thing for me. And I think this really can help because for many of us, that guilt about waste is so real. And especially in the current climate where money is tight, but also we want to our best for the planet. That guilt about putting things in a bin or in landfill is awful. But you've got to really look after yourself first. Like I said in the last episode, you can't save the world if you're drowning yourself. And that is so true. But if you've given that item one last job that's unrecoverable from, you can let it go, knowing it's truly earned its keep. And you can feel less wasteful and more at peace with the decision, especially as if you can make better decisions in the future about these things, because you will buy less the more you declutter and you will make better decisions. So remember, sometimes landfill is the only realistic option. If your current circumstances, your energy levels or your mental health mean that it's complicated to get it to recycled, or it's complicated to find a different exit plan for it, or donation routes aren't possible, that is okay. What matters most is your health and your home. So next time you're decluttering, ask yourself, can this item do one last useful job before it goes? If yes, let it serve you one more time and then let it go. If not, that is fine too. If you can't think of a useful job for that item, that is okay. It's all right to just let it go. Either way, you do not have to carry any guilt for doing what is right for you in your current circumstances. So there you go. I hope this one little shift has made letting go feel a little bit lighter for you and little bit easier. If you need a Heather says it's okay, you get one. Remember, it is not about perfection. It's about progress, and we cannot be perfect all the time as much as we want to be. Sometimes that means letting things go in the simplest way possible that's right for you. Now, if you find this helpful, I'd love to hear your one last use ideas. So come and share them for others to use in the Facebook group or send me a message. So until next time, remember you're not alone, be kind to yourself and keep untangling. Thanks for joining me for today's episode of Decluttering Untangled. If you found anything that I've said today helpful, please do me a favour, hit that subscribe button or leave me a review. It's like receiving a virtual high five that keeps me going and lets me know that I'm helping real people out there and I'm making a difference. Please remember, you're not alone in this. I'm building a community of fellow untanglers over on Facebook. Just visit the show notes for the link to my free decluttering community. So until next time, remember, you're not alone, you're not lazy, you can untangle your life.